Now, he actually signalled the end of national insurance, according to the Telegraph. Because as our viewers will be well aware, acutely aware, national insurance is essentially a con, right? It was sold to us with the idea that actually it would be a sort of ring-fenced pot for an individual, which would sort out their social care, ensure that they have access to healthcare and all the rest of it. And it's not about that. It goes into central government, and it'll probably be funding, I don't know, a few NHS diversity rainbow badges or whatever else that they're doing these days. But he stood and he said, look, we're doing all of this. We've got to stick to the plan, Chloe. It's going to be great. Sunshine and rainbows await, and not just NHS ones. What did you think about it?
I think that, as you said, the budget wasn't super exciting, but I was happy to see the Chancellor making some tax cuts, because we had a couple of weeks ago, it was reported in the news that now the Chancellor has less headroom for tax cuts and he might just cancel them all. So it was nice to see him bring the national insurance down, and also signalling the end of national insurance. As you say, this is meant to be a hypothecated tax. That was the idea of it, but that's just a complete con. It is not the case. It's just our tax code is way overcomplicated. It's something like 17,000 pages long, which is absolutely ridiculous. So getting rid of another tax with another name and just simplifying it down to income tax in the long term makes more sense. So that's good. But the Chancellor is boasting, saying we're giving everyone money off. They're going to have more money in their pocket. The average person on 35k is going to save 900 quid a year. But actually, there isn't really a tax cut, because more and more people are being dragged into higher tax brackets.
Yeah,
so
even the lower one, right? Even the actual personal allowance threshold, right? That, because that's been frozen at what, 12.5k or whatever it is now, that's dragging more and more people into actually paying income tax in the first place.
Yeah, I thought when this personal allowance was first introduced, I thought that this was a fantastic idea. It doesn't make sense that the people who can't pay their bills anyway in the first place and need support from government are then having money taken out of their pay packet. But it's been frozen at this level for long enough now, and it really does need to be raised. That is what would really help people who are struggling in the midst of a cost of living crisis.
Yeah. A very helpful reminder to everyone, which I didn't say at the start there, didn't do my housekeeping properly, should see the state of this place, but actually comment along, and I'll be able to bring up some of your comments, and then Chloe and I will respond to some of them. But I think you're right, just to bring that to a head, at a time when people are saying, I mean, I don't know about you, but I just had emails saying that come April, phone bill's going to go up, broadband's going to go up. You get so many of these changes from inflation the year before, and of course inflation was at a rate we haven't seen in my lifetime. It's not since the financial crash anyway. But everything there, a few nuggets here and there, announcing the abolishment of non-dom status to try and own Labour. Well, now there is absolutely no difference between the Labour Party and the Conservative Party. They really are. It's two cheeks of exactly the same behind. Now, you might think that I'm a national conservative. Maybe I would support that, scrapping the non-dom status so that foreigners who come here who are wealthy ought to be paying taxes. But actually, I think rich people coming here is a good thing, right? I think rich people coming here spending money and creating businesses is a good thing. And it's the same with the corporation tax increase. Maybe people think, you imagine the Amazons of the world, but actually it's not always the Amazons of the world. It's Betty's Tea Room. Actually, Betty's Tea Room's probably got a spare bob or two in York, but you know what I mean. It's sort of a little cafe. And we should be competing with the likes of Ireland to actually bring business and investment here. But I'm afraid that once again, dare I say, Liz Truss is going to be shown to have been right in principle, but potentially wrong in implementation. Did you agree with that, at least?
Yeah, I think that it is starting to prove Liz Truss right to some degree, which I'm sure she'll be happy about, given that she's got...
She'll be delighted. She'll be like the cat that got the cream, believe you me.
Oh, absolutely. A couple of things to say there. So, firstly, with the non-dom status situation, I think that the Chancellor has done this to make it look like he's doing something to pay for the tax cuts. He's not doing something fiscally irresponsible. Without admitting the fact that most of the money he is going to get that pays for his tax cuts is simply the fact that people are being dragged into higher income tax bands. I think the non-dom thing is meant to raise its estimated 3.7 billion. This isn't huge in the grand scheme of things, and far more money is actually going to come from people being dragged into higher tax bands. But of course, the Chancellor doesn't want to admit that.
Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.